Come on in the shot. Oh, my mic sound good. You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? Be right here. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Secret password, you let me in?
Fortune, what's up, man?
What's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Listen, I'm in therapy for the Astros, man. I'm going through. I'm grieving right now, man. But
hey,
pray for me.
You ain't the only one.
Pray
you ain't the
for
only
me.
one. You know,
Man.
It's not good to lose your second worst series in 4 years.
4 years.
That was tough.
It gets shut out in the finale game
At home.
At home.
Yeah.
I talk so much trash.
Well, especially after coming back, Game 5 on the ropes, win at Atlanta.
Yep. I said we could have just lost out there. Had to come back with that beat down.
Man, that was tough. That was tough. That was tough.
You look good, huh?
Likewise, like I'm just chilling.
I see.
But you see, talk about the Astros wearing an LA hat.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. But it's not a Dodgers. I bought it.
Right.
I just bought it in the store.
Long as they know Dodgers.
I was so happy when they lost to the Braves. I'm not a Dodgers fan. They one of our biggest haters.
I only cheer for home team.
Period.
That's it. Only cheer for home team. Home team. So everything going well for you?
Yeah, going good. And going good, absolutely.
Well, this McDonald's gospel tour is sort of like the phrase the band's all here because with COVID is greatly impacted, and so stuff that people have been doing has really been as individuals, as opposed to having a variety of folks come together, and touring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been the difference. There's been so many virtual concerts and virtual tours. A lot of artists, even when we did the Stellar Awards, you really were kind of taping at different locations at different times. You didn't really get to see people. So to be able to come together, especially with the home team, Houston artists who I've looked up to, been inspired by, it's really a blessing to be a part of this.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it's also great that even though you don't have, you're not in front of thousands of folks, you're not, the cheering crowds, still be able to impact people, to touch them virtually with this McDonald's Gospel Tour and streaming it on BET and other platforms.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's something that we've had to get adjusted to. Even at the church where I do worship and lead worship at, we're still not back in person. It's been 2 years now. Pastor Mike Jr., shout out to my pastor, but we've been basically doing worship every single week for the last 2 years without the crowd and audience. And it really makes you, it challenges your motives and your agenda. Do you need a big crowd to really perform? Do you need thousands of people to really send up praises? And I think for a worshiper, it always starts as an individual at home. It's the at-home worship. So if you can do it at home without a crowd, then you can come on stage and realize you're still making an impact and reaching people.
Also, I think what it's done is it has forced people to go deep in terms of being creative. So it's not just pointing a camera and showing it. And so you've sort of had that as well. And so how has this period, how has it challenged you? Has it changed you? I know John P. Key said he's just been doing crazy writing because normally you're constantly going, you're traveling. And so now, you got more time to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the pandemic, for me, it's kind of like that. Being locked in gave me a chance to really get locked in on what I was doing, hone in on my craft, locked in with my family more, because you travel so much, you're living out of hotels and airports, and now it's like, okay, now I can sit down and really hear from God, be creative. How am I going to reach people? I can't go to all the radio stations, go to all the cities, but you really can if you can be innovative and find ways to connect with people through social media, which has really been a blessing. We're doing StreamYard concerts. We're going live on Instagram Live and Facebook Live, and just really saying, hey, you know what? We can't let this stop us. We got to continue to press through and, like you say, be creative, really reach deep down into that creativity.
There's also a challenge churches because there were a lot of black churches that were frankly 10, 15 years behind the times. Didn't want to be virtual. Folks didn't want to have television ministries, but then they realized if you want to still survive this, you're going to have to use technology to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a good friend of mine who was at a church. It was a lot like this, but when it hit, they didn't have streaming at all. They didn't have any internet. They were just, a Baptist church, which of course I grew up Baptist, and my dad was a Baptist pastor, but they had to actually go and install it. It's like, okay, you may think, well, I don't want to, because I see a lot of pastors would talk to me, Roland, about they didn't want to stream because it stopped people from coming to church. They can just sit at home and watch. It's like, okay, now you have to do it because
but
they
they
can't
also
come to
did
church.
not. But see, and again, this was a mistake that I think a lot of them didn't make. They also didn't realize that they were limiting their reach.
Yes.
I know a number of preachers who have talked about how giving is up.
Yes.
They have actually more people who are watching them than who were sitting in pews.
Yeah.
And so, and the thing that again, as somebody who's been in media my entire life, I had to remind people, you can't talk about the disciples and others who were traveling to cities when media does the exact same thing. So this whole idea, well, I don't want to do that. So what you're saying is, I only want to limit the word to the people sitting in the pews.
Right, absolutely. Jesus said it like this. He said, greater work shall you do. And a lot of times people think that means, well, you're going to heal more people, or you're going to open up more blinded eyes. It's no, you'll have a chance to do more. The internet, like you said, we now, wherever I travel, like, oh, I watch your church on Sundays. I'm in Philly. Oh, I watch your church. I was in Detroit last week. I watch your church on Sundays. So now, when it was time we were just local, where now people from all over the country and all over the world.
Right.
I do a talent show every Monday. It's people coming on there to sing that are from South Africa, from Brazil, from all over because of the reach of the internet. So I agree. You can't be, you'll become a dinosaur. You'll become extinct if you don't adjust in certain ways to the times.
Yeah, I mean, it's forced people to have to, that now they have no choice. They have no choice to actually do it. And I think also it's also, I believe it's forced artists to also realize that they were dependent upon either your typical music promotion, radio stations, or when it came to how they did tours. Now it was, okay, I'm not gonna have to figure this out. The number of artists who I talked to who said the same thing, that I was thinking one way, but the moment has forced me to think a completely different way of how I talk to my fan base and how we generate revenue for the band.
I agree, absolutely. I think, Roland, a lot of times that's what happens in life in general. Certain situations, certain things change, and it forces you to adjust to the times. The Bible speaks of the sons of Issachar. It says they understood the times. They knew the times that they were living in. And it is forcing us to, hey, okay, this way of just sitting back, and even as artists, as labels. See, we've had to adjust even years before this because we used to think, hey, the label gonna handle all that. I'm gonna just kick back. No, you have to get out there and do it yourself. Labels will support, but I found so many new ways to reach my fans. It allowed me time to connect with them, build fan base even more in a more intimate way, and doing concerts in basements. I've done concerts, hey, let's just go live. We're just gonna go live and do a concert and have 1,000 people watch. So I agree. It allowed us to say, you know what, I can't get to them, but I can get to them in a greater way by just, like you said once before, being creative and being innovative.
We talked about life adjustments, and you have been very open about issues that you've had to deal with, you've had to go through.
Yes.
A lot of artists would have said, keep it to myself. Publicists would have said, don't talk about it, don't do that. But that's not the route that you took.
Yeah, all of the PR people on my label, everyone said don't talk about it. I had a chance to go to Austin to the National Domestic Violence Center. I was able to listen to calls, able to sit with women. As I began to get more information on what abuse really looks like and how there's, 14 different forms of it. It's not just about physical, but psychological and mental and economic and family. It said, you know what, this is something that we just don't talk about a lot. And so for me, it was like, I really felt God telling me. He took me to this scripture role, and it made it so clear. Because we were debating, should I just, because they were like, oh, just let time go by, just leave it alone. But God showed me in the Bible, there's a man sitting in the back of the church with a withered hand. He was in the back of the synagogue. Jesus said, come forth and stretch out your hand. Now, at that moment, it was like, okay, Jesus, why would you want him to stretch out the hand that you know is withered? Why would you want him to expose his infirmity? Why couldn't you just heal him without? But God was like, James, if you won't reveal it, I won't heal it. And so it was like, you have to talk about this. As you begin to talk about it, that's how I begin to get healing. That's how I begin to see the lives that were being touched. And I've encouraged other men, you know, it's nothing wrong. I say this all the time. You can have Jesus and a counselor. You can have Jesus and a therapist. And for me, it brought healing not only for me, but also helped other people, women. And this was really for men. I was doing it for men. Women were like, James, you don't know how much you helped me, because I always felt like it was my fault. I feel like I did something wrong, but you helped me understand that abuse is not a mistake. A mistake is for leaving your keys at home, forgetting your wallet. It's a decision. It's a choice. And so it helped women become free as well. So I don't regret it. I wrote a book about it, and I'll continue to talk about it for as long as God allows me to.
When we talk about pain, it was when B.B. King died. I interviewed Lionel Richie, and Lionel said they were in Italy, and B.B. King told him, he said, Lionel, you can't write the blues in the back of a limousine.
Yeah. Listen, I would tell you, the song that so many people know me from, one of them is called I Trust You. And I wrote that when I was homeless, didn't have a place to stay. And I always share it when I say, I don't believe I would have wrote about trusting God if my bank account was full, if I was living in this big house, all this success. I believe God takes us through different seasons of our life to bring certain things out of us that wouldn't come out if we were in other situations.
Well, absolutely. And what you know, you talk to other songwriters, they talk about, when they say when you really are singing is when you are expressing pain that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Whether it's breakup, whether it's a divorce, whether it's loss of a child, whether it's anything.
Yeah.
And I think that for anybody, which is also why I think you know, look, we love gospel praise songs.
Yeah.
But it's the worship songs
when
we're going through stuff that I think hits us a lot different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you're going through something, when you're going through a storm, or you're having a painful season of your life, you're not thinking about those songs, those hype songs. You're thinking about Amazing Grace. You're thinking about those songs that are talking about how to make it through those storms of your life. And I feel, honestly, it's like I always tell God, okay, when I'm going through something, I say, okay, God, there's something that you're trying to get out of me. Instead of wondering why, I'm like, okay, what's the what? Like, what are you trying to take me through? Why are you taking me through this? Because I know there's a message that needs to get out. I've written songs like I Believe and Encore and so many in difficult moments of my life. Even Hold On, the song I had with Monica and Fred Hammond. Man, I was going through, and felt like I had lost everything. God was like, hold on. So when he gives me a message, okay, hold on, I'm going to tell everybody else to hold on as well, because it worked for me and it'll also work for them.
Songwriters all have different styles.
Yeah.
John Legend said that when he writes, he likes to do it like he's going to the office, where he literally gets his briefcase, goes in, a set number of hours. Will Downing said it hits you different time. Will said he was doing an interview. He said he had finished making love to a woman, and then it hit him, and he got up and immediately went to write a song.
Yeah.
Other folks I've interviewed, they've gone through their process. For you, what is it? Is it how does it come to you? How do you process it? What is your songwriting theme method?
Yeah. For me, it always comes in just at any moment I get a song idea. The only time I'll sit down, like in those instances, like going to office, is usually when I'm finishing a song. Usually the chorus may come, or a hook, or just a melody will come. I could be on the airplane. I could be asleep and wake up, and a melody will come. I'll save it in my phone, because I realize if I go back to sleep and wake up, I'm gonna totally forget what it was. So I do it in that moment. But
now, So what comes first? What typically comes first?
Usually it's like a melody or hook line. You know what? I can't say that, Roland, because honestly, sometimes it'll be a title. It'll just be like, live through it. Oh, live through it.
See, for me, for speeches, it's titles. So, like I'll go through, like if I'm sitting here, it's the title that drives everything. I did a church. It was in Chicago. I did three services. And my wife had asked me, she's like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't, we were driving there, I said, I don't know. Literally, I had not decided.
Wow.
And then the choir, they had done the introduction.
Wow.
The choir is singing. They said the next voice you hear Roland Martin. I still had not decided. So I'm just sitting in the pulpit and the
That's
choir
incredible.
singing. So then I grab the Bible and I open it and I go through, and then all of a sudden I see a scripture. And so then I then take half of that scripture, I see it, and it immediately comes to me. I come with the title, then I close it.
That's
And
incredible.
then I stand up and give it. So it's just so for me it's the title. The
Yeah.
title drives.
And then you're good.
Everything.
Wow. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of times I'll have probably 20 titles in my phone. Like I don't know if it's going to even ever be a song, but a lot of times, especially when I'm doing albums, I start writing down certain titles of things I want to talk about, and then when a certain melody or a certain lyric comes to me, then I'll just start matching it up. There's songs sometimes I'll release this year that maybe 5 years ago I started on. It's not really, what I don't do a lot of times is start and finish a song at the same time. Some writers do that. Like when they get down and start, they're going to write it all the way through.
Really?
Yeah,
You
they'll
did-
write it. Yeah, some writers I'm like, nah,
So
I don't
you
do
would
that.
start, and it'll be pieces.
Right, pieces together. Because I don't like to force it. Like if it's not coming or if it's any kind of writer's block, I just leave it alone and come back to it another time.
So what was the fastest song? Now, has there been a song
Yeah.
that it all came together at one time, and you just
yeah.
knocked, and you were like, boom, this it?
That was I Believe. I was the song I Believe I did with Sean McLemore, may he rest in peace, and Zacardi Cortez. That song I was just in church and it just came. I believe the storm will soon be over. I believe the rain will go away. I believe your life will get better. Oh, I believe it's already done. It was just like that quick. The whole melody came just at one moment in church. And but that doesn't happen that often, but that was one of the ones that did.
So how do you deal with that if you're in church and you're in the middle of a song, then a song comes to you?
I'll go into it. Like that's the whole thing now, the whole flow. So you'll be in one song and then you'll just kind of hear you'll hear something and you'll start doing it at that moment. You're like, you know what? And then you'll be done. You'll see the response. People like, I think I got one. So then you'll go home and finish. It may just be like a little hook. Like, I think this might be the one.
Be sure I get that that
Right,
video
send me that
file
audio video,
so I can
yeah.
remember what the heck I just did.
Right, and then you'll be like, and you'll go home and I'll go home and finish it. And so it happens like that sometimes. It's so many, I'm gonna be honest, there's so many different methods and ways that it happens. For me, it's not one specific way, but I believe was one that came from beginning to end. But most of the time, I'll get one idea, one title, one hook, maybe just a verse, and then I'll work on it kind of piece by piece.
I've been meaning to ask you because I listen to this song all the time.
Yeah.
How Let Your Power Fall? Where did
I'm gonna be honest with you. Me and Zacardi were in Connecticut, and a friend of mine, Dion Kipping, who had brought us there, sung that song. That was his song. So it was a song that he had written. He sung it. I was looking at Zacardi like, man, I never heard this song. It was just incredible. So like a year later, I asked him, could we record it? And I put it on my live recorder. We kind of tweaked it and changed it up to kind of fit us. And it's now gone on to be, man, one of my biggest songs. It was actually Dion Kipping. Shout out to him who wrote that. And he allowed me to
he's
record
very
it.
appreciative.
Oh yeah, it's been very profitable. He's been very blessed, as we say, blessed beyond measure. But
Right.
yeah, that was one that he wrote, and it was just Zacardi Cortez, who's been rocking with me since 2005.
I mean, understand. I listen to music. So growing up, my dad always played music, and he used to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
No, literally would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
He would get a new song, and he would play it like
Over.
40, 50, 60
Wow,
times.
yeah. He'd be great in the streaming era. Like we need all the streams.
You don't understand. I'm talking about, oh my God. I was like, if he played this song one more time. But I was, where was I? I was traveling. Straight up. There was a 2-hour flight.
Okay.
And I listened to that song the whole 2-hour flight.
Wow.
It was just because I'm always talking about there are certain songs
Yeah.
that we listen to that's nice.
Yeah.
But the other songs that hit us in a different way.
Yeah.
And we listen, and whether it's gospel or whether it's any form.
Right.
The OJ's Put Your Hands Together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was jamming that song like it just came out, and I even told Eddie, I was like, dude, why y'all don't sing that one? I mean, 'cause
Right.
it is just
One of those.
what it says. So for you, is there whether it's gospel, whether it's any other musical genre, whether it's country, jazz, or whatever,
Yeah.
is there a song that it hits you and make you like, oh, you would just listen to it over and over and over again?
Absolutely, a lot of Michael Jackson songs. I mean, I Want to Rock with You. Michael Jackson is one, because my dad used to do that and he was a pastor, but one album we had he listened to over and over was Michael Jackson's album growing up, and it just always kind of stuck with me. And then Whitney Houston is another one. Just, I mean, I listen to her stuff over and over. But there's so many. There's some other non-gospel songs. Tupac, Tupac. That I could just listen to. I mean, and see, the thing with me is certain songs, and it's with everybody, it connects us to a memory. So it's like when you hear it, like I'm remembering being at the house with my dad or being in my grandmother's house who's no longer with us. I'm remembering those moments. And just kind of, I can't get enough of it. I can listen to it over and over and over.
There are some gospel artists. You have the different styles, So, if you had to go back in time, with all the different, whether we're talking about Claire Ward, James Cleveland, whether we're talking about Thomas Dorsey, whether we're talking about Mahalia Jackson, whether we're talking about the Winans, whether we're talking about commissioned or whatever, what particular era or space you would have loved to have been in, to sing in?
It would have to be Kirk Franklin. I mean, that was the first gospel artist that
when he first came out.
Yeah, with the stomp and I'm just remembering, like I said, remember the Six Flags, Astroworld, going to see him every time he would come, and thousands upon thousands of people. And gospel music was really, he went platinum. Like, you don't hear about that anymore now. Like, it was really selling. Young people were connecting with it. And it was a fun era, between him and John P. Key. John P. Key is the first artist that made me fall in love with gospel music. My dad always listened. There's two things he listened to in the car all the time, was talk radio, sports talk, 610 sports talk radio, and sermons. He was a pastor. Right. So it wasn't like a lot of gospel artists he would listen to when I was a kid. But when I went to my first John P. Key concert, it just changed my life.
Oh no, John! Hey,
like it literally, I was in awe. Like my mouth dropped. I was in middle school, and he was at Abundant Life Cathedral. I'll never forget. And I was like, who is it? I went and got everything he had after that, and he made me fall in love with gospel music. I just wasn't. I liked gospel music, but I wasn't in love with it. I only knew like the.
So at that point,
songs.
you weren't.
No.
You weren't saying this is my thing.
Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you what's so funny. And I have Oz Curry friends. We'll go to these tribute concerts, whether it's the Winans or Commission. I don't know none of the songs. I'd be so like I literally
wow.
The first gospel artist was John B. Key because I just didn't grow up on it. Now I've known him, but growing up I didn't know anything about the Winans or Commission. I knew Jasper Williams and C.L. Franklin, and I could literally quote sermons from start to end because my dad was some that much. So John P. Key, when that happened, man, my life was forever changed. And
it was interesting because I would listen to John P. Key.
Yeah.
And what happened was. I would play, I was always playing music during COVID. I always loved music. I just played music. Yeah. And I was rocking, I was jamming. And I was playing some old John P. Key. I was playing Show Up.
Yes.
Lily in the Valley.
Oof. Yeah.
And folks were like, on his page going, John, Roland Martin is playing your music.
Yeah.
So that's actually how John and I connected. It was, he saw me just dancing and jamming and playing, and he was like, "Man, you are going in." And that's actually how we connected. He said, I had no idea. I was like, oh, and then he said, "Man, you got me listening to some of my old stuff."
Right. I just saw him last weekend concert, and he had to post it. I was going crazy. We were in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was there for something else, but I heard he was in concert, and I went to the church. I got in the back door, went all the way up to the stage, right where he was at, and just going crazy. He was singing all the show, Wash Me, and all the old songs. So, yeah, John P. Key is just definitely, people make fun of me because I was 17. I got one tattoo. 17, it's on this arm. It says, Jesus is real. That's how much, from his song, John laughs to this day. I was 17.
That's it.
Yeah, Jesus is real on my left arm, the only tattoo I ever got, because he just made that much of an impact. So when me and my friend went, we know we was gonna get. I say, man, I'm getting Jesus is real, like John P. Key. Like, that's how big of a fan I was. So after that, to then be on a song with him, Life in Favor, for him to ask me to record with them, you can only imagine what that meant to me.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Pastor John P. Key. He's truly a legend.
Yeah, definitely an OG.
Yeah,
OG.
OG for real.
Yeah, for real.
Don't play with him.
Pastor John P. Key, street.
Don't play with him.
Don't play. Last question for you, and I always love this because artists always give just, you never know the answer. So, is there a particular, who would you love to do something with? Don't be a gospel artist.
Mm-hmm.
It could be any musical genre, doesn't matter. Who would you love to do something with? Whether write something or perform with?
Yeah, it's easy. I get asked this question lately, and it's always the same person, and you're gonna trip out because of all the people I've been blessed to work with and have worked with this person. Maybe Yolanda Adams. She's just. First of all, she's everything. She's amazing to me, anointed, powerful, and she's from Houston. And we've kind of talked about it at times, but it's never happened.
Man, y'all got you can't let that thing. Look, I interviewed Johnny Gill. Johnny Gill told me, he said, him and Aretha talked, and she agreed to do something with him, and Johnny said, I never followed up.
Wow.
Johnny said, man, I'm so mad at myself.
Yeah.
And as like I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
get it done.
Get it done. And that's the thing. I've never, and I don't want people to think wrong, I've never sent her a song, hey, Miss Yolanda, can you get on this with me? So I've never really done my part in sending her a song or, hey, what you think about this? And that, like I said, that's on me. I'm like, what am I doing? But
you
that's
got a
number? Right, exactly. That's,
many
times I've been on Yolanda Adams' show, been on cruises with her.
See, you got to do it now. See,
yeah,
now.
It's done.
See, now, okay, now I'm telling you right now, you gonna get a text from me once a month.
Is it done? Yeah, but send me that song.
I'm just letting you know. I'm like, dog, did you do this?
You're right. I need
like what you waiting on?
Hold me accountable.
It's just like Lester Love.
Yeah,
Lester Love. I've been on him now for 6 or 7 years, and because when he did when he dropped that video on YouTube, him singing those love songs.
Yeah, I was there.
Bruh.
I was there.
Bruh.
I was there that night.
I had that on my phone. I've been on Lester now for 7 years saying, bruh, when you gonna record?
Yes.
Stop. Look, the game has changed. It don't cost that much.
It don't.
I said, when you gonna take these love songs? I said, and I already told him, I said, dude, I said, the name of the album is Jesus is Love.
Jesus, that would be
Dude,
perfect.
I've been on him, I'm telling you, I've been on Lester for about 7, now going on 8 years, like, bruh.
Really?
You should text message, bruh.
Yeah, that's
where we at?
You gotta hold us accountable, man. Like, what are you waiting on? And I felt that too that night when it happened, because I had just got off stage. He actually started tagging one of my songs first, I Need Your Glory. He came out of that, and then he went into those songs. It was like, whoa, he got something.
That was crazy. I've been on him for 7 years.
Really?
Like, Lester, stop tripping.
What you waiting on?
I'm keep telling him. All right, so I'm gonna hold you to it.
Hold me accountable. I'm gonna get it done.
All right,
I promise you. I'm gonna get it done.
I appreciate it. Always good to see you, man.
Pleasure.
I
Thank you for having
appreciate
me, man.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.